Hey, friends, your foundation matters, right? What you build your life on, it makes a difference. It's why you don't build a house on the beach, right? Unless you dig really deep and you find something solid that you can concrete it in, right? You build your life, you build your house on a place to where the ground is, most of the time, it's not going to move anywhere. We've had a series of issues close to where I live in close to Alton, Illinois, like sinkholes just appearing. And, it's turned out that, no brainer, right? There's been uh, mines all under the place. And then some, and, the ground has collapsed in certain places because what you build your house on, it makes a difference. You don't want people digging underneath it. And the same is true for your life. What you build your life on makes a difference. See, it's not a coincidence that the Bible says it's a firm foundation to build a life on Jesus. There would be other metaphors, right? Jesus says that we're supposed to seek him first. We're supposed to seek him and his righteousness, his kingdom and his righteousness. And the best way that I can think to describe all this before we get into, we're going to read Matthew 7, the very end of, 5, 6, and 7. But the best way that I can think to describe this is my family. See, I'll frequently ask my wife, "Hey, do you care if I go do this?" Not because I need her permission, but because I'm taking her into consideration. And then, she'll say yes or no, I don't care, or I do, right? And then after that, I begin to think, the kids, is me doing this going to disrupt something that they're going to do? See, trying to approach my relationship in this way, it's a series of filters because I want to be a blessing to my wife and to my kids. See, putting God first or building a life on him, it simply means that he's going to be that first, the most important filter that we have. He's my first consideration. And his promise is that if we build a life on him, well, let's read it. Matthew 7, verse 24. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rains came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash. See, that's what Jesus is saying, that when we build a life on him, it adds stability to our life. Now, you can build, a lot of people build their lives around or on another person. And then if that person leaves or, God forbid that they pass away or something happens, then they're just toast, right? They have nothing, their foundation is just gone. And so it's okay to build your life in respect to a person, your kids, a job, a financial, right? It's okay to in respect, but it can't be your foundation. Because again, when that goes away, you've got nothing left. And so Jesus teaches us to build our life on a greater consideration, on a greater foundation, to build it on him because he's not going anywhere, right? They tried to make him go bye-bye and he said, okay, and then came right back. See, having Jesus as your foundation, it's not going to make you exempt from the problems of life, but his promise is that if your foundation is on him, you can weather any storm. That's why what you build your life on matters. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.